guys, and welcome back to another video. So for today's sketchbook doodle session, I wanted to sketch mostly like 17 stuff today. So I'm just gonna be looking at some references on my phone and just doodling whatever I wanted to doodle at that time, which is gonna be just, you know, a few of the 17 members. But I decided that I'll kind of take the sketches that I do today a little bit further, just because I've been doing a lot of like graphite drawing recently, and as much as I love drawing with like pencil and like the monochromatic feeling of like sketches look great, I wanted to add a little bit of color back into my sketchbook a little bit, but I feel like I haven't been using watercolors as often as I would like to, whether or not it's just for like actual painting of like, you know, different illustrations and stuff that I wanted to do in the past, or even just using watercolor to add stuff to my sketches. So I'll make sure to leave all the little tags and stuff in the corner so you guys know what materials I'm using, or you can check out the description so that I can have them all listed and stuff. But yeah, so I'm basically gonna start off sketching with just a normal mechanical pencil. I'm not using the Pilot Colored Eno today because I feel like if I'm using the Pilot Colored Eno, I'm prepping myself to keep it like clean, like a cleaner look, more of an attempt for more of a finished look. But if I'm sketching straight up with the graphite, I'm still using it the same way how I would use it if I was just sketching with just graphite, so keeping things mostly light. I don't want to erase too much if I don't need to. If I see like a big glaring mistake, I will definitely erase, but if there's not too much of a problem with the lines that I made, then I'll just leave them in, and then I will just go in and darken the lines with the same pencil, like you can see that I'm doing right now. And darkening up the lines just kind of helps me determine which lines I want to keep and which lines I want to keep like them to stand out from the rest of the lines, and it kind of makes everything look a little bit more clean without needing to erase every like spare lines, like, you know, your rough lines, your rough sketches and stuff. It's just a nice way to keep things flowing and as well as doing things a little bit more quickly. So I'm doing these sketches fairly simple in my opinion. I'm not doing a lot of shading or anything. I'm just keeping it simple lines, and then we're gonna do a lot more of the detailing and shading with the watercolors. So the reason why I haven't been using watercolors like as often in the sketchbook was actually, I think it's because I've developed more of a habit of not using them unless I'm using like watercolor paper, due to my previous sketchbook kind of like having a heavily speckled texture after applying water. So for this paper, it's extremely smooth but really thin. But as long as you kind of like either tape down the pages in your sketchbook or you use binder clips to kind of clamp them down, you don't have to worry too much about the buckling being too unbearable. I think if you added water and didn't like, you know, secure the pages down, your paper is gonna be super warped. But my paper right now, it does have a bit of like the warped texture to it, but it doesn't really bother me too much. And it's kind of like expected because of how thin the paper is. But you can see that if I'm working with watercolor in this sketchbook, as long as I'm careful, I actually can get pretty like flat washes if I want to, but I also really like the texture of how the watercolor dries on the paper. So because I use a lot of water in my washes, oftentimes, like you'll probably see it more in towards his hair, and probably when I show you guys like close-ups, the edges of the watercolor is a lot darker than the center because of how the water is pooling on the page. If you use like less water, it'll be more like how I painted his face, where it's more smooth. There's a little bit less of that kind of like outline around the different spots that I paint. But I'm still treating everything similar to how I usually use watercolors in terms of layering stuff up, and treating, I don't know. I think my main focus for these ones was mostly going to be on the clothing folds. But you'll see on the second painted sketch that I don't really, I don't know, I feel like the clothing folds get a little bit lost, and I think it's because I took a break and I decided to not use the reference on my phone anymore, which is okay. It's still fun to experiment, but I feel like I need to get back into doing more painting. It just helps with my color mixing and seeing what colors work together a lot more. And it kind of helps with like color matching. So the first person I'm drawing is actually Wonu. It doesn't really look like Wonu, but I really wanted to draw his denim jacket mostly. So that is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to add some of the clothing folds, a little bit of that denim texture by adding like little kind of like speckles for the seams. I don't know what it's called. Like the thicker part of your jeans where like two seams overlap. I'm not sure if there's like a name for it, but that's what I was trying to do for parts of it. And you'll see that I'll make the lines stand out a little bit more from doing the washes, because a lot of the pencil actually gets washed out. And I'm gonna do it by actually using a pen. So I've been doing, I think I did a few spreads of doing this method, and I was testing out what pen do I want to use. And I've settled for this Micron pen. So apologies for the angle. I was trying to get it as close as possible to the paper so you guys can see a little bit more easily the difference between the pencil lines and how I'm placing the kind of like the dark black lines from this pen, because I don't want it to be super clean and clear and like everything looks super crisp. I was trying my best to only line like more of the important details in terms of like the hair and the face, because I don't want everything to have outlines. I would like to keep some of the pencil lines in, or leaving the watercolor to speak for itself. But then there's some areas like the pocket area, or like in his jean jacket, where I added more lines to emphasize the kind of like texture or like the detailing of the jacket itself. So you can kind of play around with like what you enjoy. I feel like sometimes when I do line work afterwards, I love adding as much detail as I can. But because of how much I like the washes on their own, I wanted to make sure that I only darken up certain areas and then I don't take away from the washes. So I am now working on the second sketch, and the second sketch is going to be of June, and he's wearing this kind of nice olivey, almost yellow ochre jacket. I think it's from a photo shoot. He posted it like recently on his Instagram, and I just screenshotted it so I could use it as a reference. But it's basically the same method, and yeah, I just wanted to play around with color a little bit more. The jean jacket for Wonu's was like, I think I just wanted to paint that color for his jacket. Mine turned out a little bit more less saturated, but also a little bit darker than the original jacket that he's wearing. And then for June's, I think I made his jacket look a little bit too much, like too green. So I feel like I'm still lacking in terms of mixing colors, but I think that's like kind of like the fun of using watercolors. You can make stuff more saturated, less saturated. You can also like let colors blend in with one another, which is like what I've been doing for like other sketches, because I've done I think 3 to 4 spreads like this. Oh, another reason why I decided to use the Micron, besides the fact that I wanted like some kind of darker line, I was cleaning out my room. So you guys would have saw like the previous video, which was like the Pixu 64, and I've cleared out like my entire wall that like is in front of my desk. So I only have like 3 things on the wall on that side, which is like the Wonu poster that I have, and then I have the YouTube plaque, and then the Pixu 64, because I feel like I'm a hoarder. I feel like that's part of my personality. I like keeping things, thinking that I'm either gonna need it later or I'm gonna use it later, I could wear it later, that kind of mentality. But also I like I keep adding sentimental value to objects that I feel like shouldn't have that much importance, but I still deem it in that way. So there's like a lot of things I should have removed or taken out of my room from a long time ago, and a lot of it's actually like my posters. So a lot of my posters on my wall is from like 2012, 2011, I think it's 2012. I bought a lot of like Infinite posters, like the boy group Infinite, and I have some VIX ones and I have some GOT7 ones from those times. So it's like from my high school days up until now, and I decided to take them off. I'm probably gonna like clear out my entire room in terms of the walls, because I still have like, I have a Len poster. I also have like a Wind Waker. No, I have like a whole Zelda timeline up until like 2014, I think. I have, what is this game? Oh, I don't really remember what the game is called. I don't think it's not Wind Waker, is it? It might be. No. I'm like super confused. It's Phantom Hourglass. So I love Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks when I was younger. So I have one of the posters there. I have a Super Mario posters, and then I have a bunch of like, is that like L's Beautiful View, which is like his photo essay book. And I have like a bunch of posters and stuff that I should get rid of. Or not get rid of, I will store them away. But I need to go more minimalistic, but it was a good opportunity for me to like clear out my desk. I went on like the biggest tangent. I cleared out my wall, which made me clear out my desk and change the layout of my desk. And because I changed the layout of my desk, I was like chucking some stuff out, and I found a bunch of my old pens, and I guess this Micron pen just like slipped my view and just like went under my desk. So when I was finished putting everything away, I just had this Micron pen, so I just stuck it into my pencil case, and that was like the first pen that I wanted to use, I guess, other than a ballpoint pen. So the reason why I didn't use the ballpoint pen was actually because of the glare. So similar to graphite, the glare makes it really shiny and really hard to see. So I wanted something to be more strikingly black and bold. So I used the Micron because it dries more matte compared to the ballpoint pen, which gives more of a like, that glare, which I don't really like. So back to the video. You can see I'm adding kind of like smaller doodles to fill in the little gaps between Wonu and June, because I like to, like, I also like to fill up a page or a spread as much as possible, but sometimes there's days that, sometimes there's like only a figure on one page, a figure on the other page, and there's like a lot of gaps around it. But I like seeing spreads and pages that look full. That's just a preference for myself. So I like to add some other sketches here and there if I can, and you can see that I added ones that have a little bit less detail, and I left them more monochromatic. So I left the sketches quite light, but then I added a wash of color, hopefully with just one color. So the other one was another pose that June did for that photo shoot, and then right here I'm drawing Seungwan and I'm drawing Do-gyam. So Seungwan is on the left and Do-gyam is on the right. I actually don't like how I drew Do-gyam. I think Seungwan looks kind of cute. I did make his face a little bit too round, I think, but I don't know. It still looks like him a little bit more, and I forgot his moles, but that's okay. I gave him like a little stem and a leaf because I think a lot of us like drawing him as a Jeju orange or tangerine. It's kind of like similar to how I draw Wonu with like a sprout on his head. But yeah, so this is from, they took like a picture together from the KBS Song Festival, and they sang a beautiful duet. So I wanted to almost like record the memory. I feel like that's like another reason why I like doing these sketches like in a bunch. It kind of like records the memory or like whatever event happened during that day or that time. So yeah, and then I'm gonna fit one last one of Wonu and Mingyu in the bottom right corner. And I don't know, I like how I drew Wonu just because it looks cute, not because it looks like him. But I proportioned Mingyu so weird, so I kind of made him look like he's in front of Wonu, even though they're supposed to be on the same plane. So this is like during that video, I don't know who posted it, I think it's on Weverse, and it's basically, I think it's like, I don't know who's filming it, but Wonu and Mingyu are basically saying like, look how lucky we are, like we were so close to getting our clothes stained, because I think Vernon tripped and spilled coffee or like some kind of chocolate drink, and it spilled onto Jonghan's leg and shoes, and they're wearing like entirely white clothing for their performance, so you know, a brown drink on white clothing doesn't look too great. But yeah, I just wanted to fill up the rest of the page, and I decided to go with a blue wash for these guys just to keep with the consistent color palette of the blue on the other side of the page. So yeah, I just tried my best to make things look a little bit cohesive because I like looking at my own sketchbooks, like looking back on them. So if I can make them look aesthetically pleasing to myself, then it's more enjoyable for me to look at. Like I don't really, even though I'm showing you guys these as Sketchbook Doodles videos, most likely these sketches are technically for myself. So yeah, treat your sketchbook as a place for you to draw stuff comfortably or to challenge yourself. You can kind of make it what you want. I like using my sketchbook to comfort, as like a comfort zone thing, to relax and stuff. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video and my rambling, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!